no, you're sitting at the back tables with the distant relatives. We needed the front rows for people who actually matter, my cousin Sarah said with a smirk, adjusting her wedding veil. Her words stung like a slap across my face. I'm Grace, 28, and I've always been the invisible one in my family. The forgettable cousin who left our small hometown to chase what they called a pointless career in photojournalism. Growing up, I was never the one they bragged about at family gatherings. While my cousins were winning beauty pageants or getting into prestigious business schools, I was the quiet girl with a camera, capturing moments nobody else seemed to notice. My parents tried to be supportive, but even they sometimes asked when I'd get a real job with real security. After college, I moved to the city and started working for small publications. Nothing glamorous, just honest work that I loved. My apartment was tiny, and my wardrobe wasn't filled with designer labels like Sarah's, but I was doing what made me happy. My family, though, they're all about status. The right car, the right neighborhood, the right connections. At every holiday dinner, I'd sit through hours of not-so-subtle comments about my artsy phase, and when I'd grow out of it, I'd watch them fawn over Sarah's engagement to a banker, or my other cousin's promotion at his father's company. I almost didn't come to Sarah's wedding. After years of dismissive treatment, I wondered if anyone would even notice if I wasn't there. But something told me I should go. Something I wasn't ready to share with them yet. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. Trust me, this story might give you the courage you've been looking for. When I arrived at Sarah's extravagant wedding venue, a historic mansion with gardens that probably cost more than my yearly salary, I was immediately relegated to the background. The wedding planner barely glanced at my invitation before pointing me toward the back entrance. Family is supposed to use the main doors, I said. She looked me up and down, taking in my simple blue dress. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you family? You're not on my VIP list. I forced a smile. I'm Sarah's cousin, Grace Thompson. Her eyes widened slightly. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sarah didn't mention... Well, go right in. Inside, the mansion was transformed into a fairy tale setting with crystal chandeliers and floral arrangements taller than me. I placed my gift, a handcrafted photo album with pictures I'd taken of Sarah and her fiancé during their rare visits to the city, on the already overflowing gift table. As I adjusted the ribbon on my package, I overheard my Aunt Diane talking to another guest. That's from Grace, she said with a slight eye roll. She probably couldn't afford a proper gift. You know how it is with these artistic types. Always struggling. My cheeks burned. I'd spent weeks creating that album, selecting special paper, writing personalized captions. It might not have cost thousands, but it had meaning. Sarah spotted me during the pre-ceremony mingling and waved me over, her diamond ring catching the light as she moved. Grace, you actually came. She air-kissed both my cheeks. That dress is so interesting, very thrift store chic. It's actually new, I said quietly. Oh, well, you pull it off. She turned to her bridesmaid. Grace is my cousin who does the photography thing. She takes pictures for those free magazines nobody reads. The bridesmaid smiled politely while Sarah continued. Anyway, we're about to take some photos with the wedding party. Would you mind grabbing us some champagne while we do that? Before I could answer, a waiter approached me with an empty tray. When you're done serving, we need help in the kitchen. I'm not staff, I said, feeling my face flush. I'm a guest. The waiter looked mortified. I'm so sorry, miss. It's just... the uniform. Sarah laughed. Honest mistake. Her dress does look like the catering uniforms. I wanted to disappear. But I held my head high and found my seat for the ceremony, in the last row, behind a column that partially blocked my view. The wedding itself was beautiful, I had to admit. Sarah looked stunning in her designer gown as she floated down the aisle. I took a few photos with my phone, professional habit I couldn't shake. But as the ceremony ended and everyone moved to the reception hall, the real humiliation began. I searched for my name card at the reception tables. After several minutes, I found it, misspelled as Gracie and placed at what could only be described as the leftovers table. Random plus ones, distant family friends no one really knew, and me. As I sat down, an elderly woman I'd never met asked, "And how do you know the couple?" "I'm Sarah's cousin," I explained. "Oh." She looked surprised. "I didn't realize there were cousins at this table. The bride's mother told me this was for people who couldn't fit at the family tables." My table mates were perfectly nice, but I couldn't help noticing the family tables nearby, full of laughter, champagne toasts, and shared memories. I was blood-related but somehow didn't qualify. During dinner, the photographer gathered everyone for family photos. I stood up, but my Uncle Richard put his hand on my shoulder. "These are for immediate family," he said. "We'll do extended relatives later." I watched as they posed together. My aunts, uncles, cousins, even Sarah's new in-laws were featured prominently. The extended relatives photos never happened. I picked at my dinner, my appetite gone. At the table behind me, I heard my uncle talking to another guest. "That's my niece over there, Gracie or whatever." "The one in the blue dress? Is she a photographer or something?" "Yeah, she takes pictures for some small-time magazines. Nothing you'd have heard of." He laughed. "She's probably just here for the free food. Flew across the country for a fancy meal." My hands trembled. I'd spent nearly a month's rent on that plane ticket, not for the food, but because I thought family mattered. Just as I was considering making an early exit, Sarah's maid of honor, Melissa, stopped by my table with a glass of red wine. She was Sarah's best friend since childhood and had always treated me with the same dismissive attitude. "Grace, having fun at the singles table?" She grinned, gesturing broadly with her wine glass. "It's fine," I said. "The ceremony was beautiful. Wasn't it? Sarah deserves perfection." She leaned closer, swaying slightly. "You know, I told her she should have you photograph the wedding since you're so passionate about your little hobby." But she wanted a real professional. As she spoke, her arms swung out, and red wine cascaded down the front of my dress. "Oh my God!" Melissa's hand flew to her mouth in exaggerated shock. "I'm so clumsy. Good thing your dress is dark. No one will even notice." But everyone had noticed. Nearby tables fell silent, watching the scene unfold. "It's fine," I said through clenched teeth. "Accidents happen." I hurried to the bathroom, fighting back tears as I dabbed at the stain with paper towels. Looking at myself in the mirror, wine seeping into the fabric of my dress, I suddenly remembered the email I'd received just yesterday. The confirmation that had kept me smiling through the flight, through the ceremony, through all the little jabs. "Your strength isn't in their approval," I whispered to my reflection. "Remember what you've achieved." I straightened my shoulders and returned to the reception, head high despite the stain. But the indignities continued. As the dancing started, my Uncle Richard spotted me standing alone. "Grace, make yourself useful." He thrust his phone into my hands. "Take some pictures since that's all you're good for anyway. Your aunt wants some candids." I could have said no. Should have said no. But years of conditioning to be the agreeable one, the one who didn't make waves, had me taking his phone and snapping photos of laughing family members who hadn't spoken a word to me all day. After returning his phone, I slipped outside onto the terrace. The cool night air felt good after the stuffiness inside. I pulled out my own phone and dialed a familiar number. "Hey, Jake," I said when my colleague answered. "How's everything looking with the magazine cover?" "Grace, it's all set. The digital edition goes live at midnight, and the print copies hit stands tomorrow morning. Your photos are incredible. Everyone's buzzing about them. I smiled, looking up at the stars. Did they keep the interview quotes I sent? Every word, including the part where Ava Williams calls you the most intuitive portrait photographer of this generation. Sarah's going to lose her mind when she sees her idol talking about you like that. My family has no idea who I've become in the industry, I said quietly. They still think I'm struggling with my little hobby. Not for long. The email confirmation just came through. You're officially the new principal photographer for Lux magazine. Congratulations. My heart skipped. Lux magazine, the very publication Sarah had every issue of, displayed prominently on her coffee table like trophies. What they don't realize is tomorrow everyone will know exactly who I am. As I ended the call, my phone buzzed with a text from Jake. Stay strong tonight. By tomorrow, they'll be the ones feeling invisible. I tucked my phone away, feeling calmer. As I turned to go back inside, I nearly bumped into the wedding DJ. Sorry, he said, then did a double take. Wait, are you Grace Thompson, the photographer? I nodded, surprised. I'm a huge fan of your work. That series you did on urban isolation was brilliant. What are you doing sitting all the way in the back? Aren't you family? Before I could answer, Sarah's fiancé, now husband, David, approached. There you are, Grace, he said. Sarah was looking for you. The DJ looked between us. You know each other? Grace is Sarah's cousin, David explained, then turned to me with genuine interest. I didn't realize you were the Grace Thompson. I've seen your exhibition in the City Gallery last month. Your work is extraordinary. I felt a rush of warmth at his recognition. Thank you. That means a lot. Does Sarah know? He asked. No, I admitted. The family doesn't really follow my career. David looked puzzled but didn't push. Well, Sarah's looking for you. Something about helping pack up gift envelopes later. Of course. The only time I was needed was for free labor. Back inside, the reception was reaching its peak. The dance floor was packed, and champagne flowed freely. I checked the time on my phone. 11:45 p.m. 15 minutes until the digital edition dropped. I spotted Sarah by the Hyatt cake, surrounded by admirers. She caught my eye and waved me over imperiously. Grace, there you are. Listen, after everyone leaves, I need you to help collect the gift envelopes and cards. Mom says we need someone trustworthy, and since you're not drinking... Actually, I have an early flight tomorrow, I said. Sarah's smile faltered. But the brunch is at 10. Everyone's coming. I have a work commitment I can't miss. Work? She laughed. Taking pictures of what? Local farmers market? A group of guests around us chuckled. Something like that, I replied evenly. Sarah's mother joined us, champagne in hand. Grace, be a dear and help the servers clear some tables, since you're not doing anything important anyway. I checked my phone again. 11:55 p.m. I took a deep breath. Actually, A gasp from across the room interrupted me. A young woman, one of Sarah's fashionable friends, was staring at her phone in shock. Her eyes darted up to me, then back to her phone. Oh my God, she said loudly. Sarah, Sarah, you didn't tell me your cousin is the Grace Thompson. A confused murmur spread through the room. Sarah looked baffled. What are you talking about, Jess? The woman rushed over, shoving her phone into Sarah's hands. Lux magazine just dropped their new issue online. Grace shot the cover. She photographed Ava Williams. Sarah's face went slack with shock. Ava Williams, her favorite actress, the woman whose poster had hung in her bedroom throughout high school. That's not possible, Sarah stammered, looking from the phone to me. But other guests were pulling out their phones now, gasps and murmurs filling the room. It says she's their new principal photographer. These photos are incredible. Isn't that your cousin, Sarah? My Uncle Richard pushed through the crowd, grabbing the phone from Sarah. His face paled as he read the article. Grace Thompson's extraordinary vision captures the vulnerable humanity behind celebrity, he read aloud. Her appointment as Lux magazine's principal photographer marks a new era for the publication. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to me. I felt surprisingly calm in the center of the storm. You're working for Lux? Sarah finally managed, her voice small. I nodded. Starting next month. That's why I need to fly out tomorrow. I'm meeting with the creative director to plan my first official shoot. Sarah's mother stepped forward, her demeanor completely transformed. Grace, why didn't you tell us? This is wonderful news. We must celebrate. Yes, Sarah added quickly. We're so proud of you. I've always said you had talent. My Uncle Richard cleared his throat. This calls for a toast. To Grace, the artist of the family. I watched them scramble to rewrite history, to position themselves as my supporters all along. Sarah's mother gripped my arm, suddenly eager. You must use your connections to feature Sarah's wedding in the magazine. Imagine. Her special day in Lux. And there it was. Not pride in my accomplishment, but how they could use it. I'm afraid that won't be possible, I said gently. I only photograph subjects with genuine character and authenticity. A collective intake of breath followed my words. Sarah's face flushed red. David broke the tension with a laugh. She got you there, honey. He turned to me with sincere admiration. Congratulations, Grace. Your work deserves this recognition. As the night wound down, family members who had ignored me all evening suddenly found reasons to approach. My Aunt Diane gushed about how she always knew I had something special. Uncle Richard claimed he'd been tough on me to push me to greatness. I accepted their congratulations graciously, without reminding them of their previous dismissals. There was no need for revenge or pettiness. Their sudden change of heart said everything. Sarah cornered me by the coat check, her perfect makeup slightly smudged. Why didn't you tell me? She demanded. I looked like an idiot in front of everyone. When would I have told you, Sarah? Between you mocking my dress and seating me with strangers? She had the decency to look ashamed. I always believed in you, you know, even if I didn't show it. I smiled sadly. The thing is, Sarah, I never needed you to believe in me. I just needed you to be kind. As I prepared to leave, Sarah's mother approached again, this time with an invitation. We're having a special family dinner tomorrow night. In your honor, of course. Everyone will be there. I'm sorry, but I have a flight to Paris. My first international assignment starts Monday. Paris? She blinked rapidly. Well, when you return then. I nodded, knowing I probably wouldn't attend whatever dinner they eventually planned. As I walked out of the venue, I felt lighter than I had in years. I realized my worth wasn't in their validation, but in the passion I'd pursued while they weren't watching. All those years of dismissal had actually given me the freedom to build something authentic, away from their judgmental eyes. Has your family ever underestimated what you could achieve? Share your story in the comments below. Sometimes the sweetest success is the kind nobody sees coming. Drop your location where you're watching from. I read every comment. This channel is for everyone who's been dismissed before they were understood. Hit subscribe if you've ever had to prove someone wrong about who you really are.